Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome again to our channel. Today we have the great honor to have here Sankarshan Prabhu, who is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, a world-known preacher of the International Society of Christian Consciousness, who is preaching around the world more than 50 years with his wife Vishnupriya Mataji, have many disciples everywhere, also in Bulgaria. And now we are very happy that he is here in our temple in Sofia. Hare Krishna Prabhu, welcome.
Thank you very much.
So we have one question. How did you come to Krishna consciousness?
Well, I've written a whole book actually about it, called The Divine Love Memoir. It's available on Amazon. I didn't bring any copies with me. I should have brought some copies. But it's a very long story actually. But basically, I was raised as an American kid that you make good grades, get into a good school, get a good job, get a good house, a good wife, some good kids, and get a very nice tombstone and a nice grave. So it didn't make sense to me. And actually, I was all fired up as a youth, looking forward to. My dad said, "Son, your college days is going to be the happiest days of your life."
Okay.
Got there as miserable as hell. And I asked my friend who was studying at Harvard, "What's the meaning of life?" He said, "Life is a shit sandwich. You have to take another bite every day." So it wasn't very promising. Take another bite out of a stool sandwich every day. That was the meaning of life. So I wanted to know what the meaning of life is. None of the courses told me. We studied the great philosophers. Nobody told me. So I heard about something called self-realization in my junior year. So I took one course. It was by mail, correspondence course. They had me staring at a candle in a dark room, and that didn't work. So I burned those lessons, and I heard there was something called Transcendental Meditation, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. I had to pay money to get a mantra, aying, 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 and it didn't work. So it was looking pretty bleak. But then one day we were having a little watermelon party in front of our apartment, and some very stately looking hippie guy came walking by. And he said, "You can go to the forest and become self-realized." And oh, somebody who knows about self-realization. So I ran into him and later on at a snack bar on the campus, and he said he was only visiting Austin from where I didn't know, and he was leaving, so that was it. So I said, "Well, there's somebody who knows about self-realization. I wish I could have gotten to know him better." Now he was gone. But then some friends of my roommate were moving to Denver, Colorado, and they invited me to come with them. So I thought I would check it out. I moved up to Denver, Colorado, and enrolled in college up there. My parents were supporting me. And lo and behold, that guy was living in Denver, 2 blocks away from my house.
The same hippie?
Same guy.
Wow.
Talk about a coincidence.
Wow. Amazing.
His name was Patrick Dolan. So in those days, well, the hippies would take LSD, you know, marijuana, peyote cactus. That was the cool thing to do. So I went to Patrick's house one night, his apartment. His friend said, "Oh, he went to Joe's place." So I went over to Joe's, and they'd all taken LSD. They invited me to join them on the trip. I said, "No, thank you." They went home and went to bed. But then Joe went really crazy on LSD. And they ran to my apartment to get away from him. They came knocking on the door and told me not to turn on the lights, and I all sat there in great fear because he went totally crazy. He took off his clothes. He was running naked down the street, smashing his fist in the car windshields, going door to door saying, "There's LSD in the water. Can you give me a drink of water?"
Wow.
So they were afraid of being implicated when the police came, so they came to my apartment to hide out. And then my friend Patrick, he said, "Everybody chant this to protect him." He was sort of going, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I was intrigued. Oh, Patrick had great faith in this mantra. What is this? I went to his house the next day. He showed me some article from a famous magazine called the Saturday Evening Post, which gave an article about the famous Summer of Love in San Francisco, Haight-Ashbury neighborhood, the big high point of the hippie era. And they interviewed some devotee named Hayagriva who said that by chanting Hare Krishna it would bring peace, and gave the whole mantra actually in the magazine article. So now I've gotten the Hare Krishna mantra, and I was really attracted to that. So I went to the library and got a Gita. It wasn't the Gita, it was a Prabhupada, but I read one verse. Krishna says, if you offer me love and devotion, a leaf, flower, fruit, or water, I've accepted him. And wow. But I never heard that in a Christian church. God was an old man with a beard on top of a mountain somewhere, you know. But here was somebody who actually had reciprocation with him. I was, wow. So I got a picture of Radha Govinda. I was offering my food. I was chanting Hare Krishna. So now what about my career? You know, you're supposed to choose a career, right? So I said, okay, my career, I'm going to deny everything and go to India, become a holy beggar. That's my career choice. So I went back to I dropped out of school. I went home to visit my parents. And I didn't tell them my plan. I was going to go to India. And so I wasn't denying everything. Like the Mayavadis say, neti, 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 deny, deny, deny. So one night I had a very profound realization. I even wrote it on a piece of paper. My exact realization was this. I denied and I denied until I could deny no longer, and then I had to start accepting. So what am I going to accept? I wanted to renounce the world, but say, okay, now my mission is to save the world. Yeah. Okay. Revolutionize the world. So one day I headed out. My parents were not there. My sister was home. I put my guitar out the window in a suitcase. I walked out the door like I was just going over a walk in the neighborhood. I took my guitar and suitcase and I hitchhiked with no money at all. Hitchhiked to San Francisco. And I got to Austin, Texas. I took my ID and my draft card. I threw them in the trash can.
Krishna.
And now that's a $5,000 penalty and 5 years in prison.
Wow.
If you trash your draft card, you can be put in prison and put in prison for 5 years.
5 years is a long time.
So I didn't say, I don't give a damn about this United States of America. It's just a nonsense place, and I'm just going to dedicate myself to saving the world. That's it, finished. So it was a very mystical thing, actually. It was like, I remember one morning I was heading out from Austin, Texas, and it was mystical. It was like, I felt like one of the 12 disciples went to follow Jesus, and it was very mystical. The whole world took on a mystical glow. And I hitchhiked out to San Francisco. I had this idea there were some people in San Francisco out to save the world, and I was going to join them. And I met the devotees first thing.
Wow.
The Harinam party. But I was still influenced by Mayavadi philosophy at that time. They invited me to the temple, and I was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare in the temple room. And some Brahmin Srini said, oh, you're chanting so nicely. And I was thinking, ha ha ha, if she only knew that I'm Krishna.
Okay.
So I wasn't ready to become a devotee because I was still tinged by Mayavad.
How old were you?
Huh?
How old were you?
Well, that was 1969. No, it was 68.
60.
December of 68. And I was born in 47, so I must have been like, 21. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was the Haight-Ashbury was the headquarters of the hippie movement in those days. They had written a popular song called "If You're Going to San Francisco, be sure to wear some flowers in your hair. If you're going to San Francisco, you're gonna meet some gentle people there." So it was like the summer of '67. I was just like a year and a half later. So I thought there's still something left maybe of that, the beautiful love and peace flower children era. So I went there with my guitar. The first day, what to do? Of course, this is a hippie. You find some place to sleep. Some hippies went to some abandoned apartment. We all slept on the floor in a cold room. There was no, no hotel, no money. You just depend on whatever comes. So now I'm here in Haight-Ashbury. What am I going to do? Well, I'll sit down and start playing my guitar on the sidewalk.
Okay.
And the police came and said, there's a new ordinance today, no sitting down on the sidewalk. So what am I going to do? Should I defy the authorities and get arrested, or what am I going to do? I know what I'll do. I'll walk up and down the street and singing. So I became famous as the Haight-Ashbury minstrel.
Wow.
And they said, you're going to make Haight-Ashbury beautiful again. Someone said, oh, you're another Bob Dylan. I knew him when he was getting started in New York, and you're just like him. So I had all this. I was encouraged that I could make music and make a revolution through my music, you see. So they even had a meeting. What can I do to make Haight-Ashbury beautiful again? I was invited for that meeting.
Wow.
And so I had no money. Somebody gave me a little money. One hippie girl very much encouraged me. There was a famous song by Bob Dylan called Mr. Tambourine Man. And one line went, yes, to dance beneath the diamond sky with one hand waving free. So one hippie, I was singing that. So one hippie girl started dancing with one hand like this in front of me to encourage me that was what I was doing, So I was very encouraged. I was writing a lot of songs. Hey There, Hay Street, I was writing a song. And one girl lent me her sleeping bag to spend the night in the park. I made a song about her. I called her Diamond Lady and wrote a song about her, So I was writing a lot of songs and singing them, and a lot of people really grooved on my music, But then I heard there was a big music scene happening across the bay in University of California in Berkeley. So I went over and checked it out. I sang Mr. Tambourine Man, and huge crowds of people were applauding. It was a big music scene for street minstrels. It was a big music scene. Even one student named Howard Resnick, he really liked my music. Later on, he told me, I remember you. I remember you singing Mr. Tambourine Man. His name was Sridananda Maharaj, one of the ISKCON gurus. He was a student. He really grooved on music when I was a hippie. It's in my book. He wrote the introduction for my book, Loving Worlds from a Fellow Traveler. So now I was getting big. I had more songs. I had no money, but one student invited me, Bill Burke, he invited me to come and live with them, free room and board,
Okay.
So I had a place to live, I had food, I had an audience, I was writing songs. Then there was a big concert. The big bands in those days were the Grateful Dead and the Jefferson Airplane. They were the big, world-famous hippie bands. They were doing a big concert on the polo fields in Golden Gate Park. So I went over there, let me check it out. I went there and asked the MC, can I play a few songs between their set? And the guy had, even though there were 10,000 people there, the guy had faith in me. It was so much, he let me on the stage between the Airplane and the Dead. And the crowd roared with approval. My name was Steve Bridge in them. Yeah, he said, that was Steve Bridge, you're going to hear about him. I was predicted to become a big name in the music world, between the Airplane and the Dead, the most famous bands of that time. So I was really encouraged, Things were looking good. People grooved on my music. I was writing songs every day, and it looked really, really good. So anyway, one devotee named Makanal Das, he came to Berkeley to open a temple. They had one in San Francisco, but nothing in Berkeley, California. So he invited me to come with him. I went and spent the night in the temple. I chanted my first round of japa, and I was hitchhiking back to Berkeley, and I was laughing in ecstasy after chanting that japa.
Wow.
And that night I went to visit some hippies. They were all watching television. And, oh my God, this is nonsense. I wrote a song that night. I said, do you think I'd waste my time playing around in misery when I'm so close to nirvana? So I had this premonition that spiritual realization was coming soon.
Wow.
I had this realization. Now I was living there on, they heard you could get on welfare in Berkeley, so I got on welfare. I got able to rent a tiny room, big as a closet, but then the welfare ran out, And then then I was advised, we have to go to Vietnam and fight the war of Vietnam. Come to the draft center and be inducted in the military.
You have to go to the war?
I had to go to the draft center to be inducted into the army.
Wow.
So I put down I was psychologically unfit. So they put me to the psychiatrist and I said, fuck the army, fuck the army, fuck the army, top of my lungs. So they decided to give me a 6-month deferment. For 6 months only, I was excused from the military, called a 1Y deferment.
Okay.
But it's looking, the whole love and peace scene was falling apart, actually. There was a big concert. It was supposed to be a West Coast version of the famous Woodstock Festival. All the hippies came, and it was going to be big, love and peace, the whole thing again, love and peace. But then somebody got murdered.
Oh.
It was the vibes are really, really bad. The hippie was going peace, 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 but nothing happened. And I got the hell out of there. Because I knew this thing was going to be a bummer. And that night somebody got murdered. So it's looking pretty bad in West Coast now. The love and peace scene was... So let me go back to Austin, University of Texas, and check it out. And there the hippies weren't into violence. They were still in their love and peace.
Okay.
And they were having a big... the University of Texas has a beautiful creek called Waller Creek with beautiful oak trees, a wonderful natural creek. But then the regent wanted to tear down a bunch of oak trees to expand the football stadium. So all the hippies had a big protest. They went down and got in the trees. It was called the Battle of Waller Creek, a famous part of Austin history. So we went down to protest, and then the regent called the hippies dirty nothings. So we all wore buttons, dirty nothing. I'm proud of being a dirty nothing. But then I had no place to live, no money. I was living without any money, just hitchhiking, and whatever comes, comes. So let me go back to the West Coast and check it out again. And then there was some guy named Steve Gaskin who was considered to be a guru, and he said, he was singing, and we're all avatars. We're all God, you know. I thought, well, he's really a realized guru, you know. So that was a bummer, and my welfare was gone, and it was really looking bad, you know. So this is horrible. I can't live this way anymore. What am I going to do? I got to rejoin the establishment. It was horrible, you know. Go back to Austin, re-enroll in the college, get support from my parents, actually got a job as a janitor. Oh my God, it was so horrible. I was like crying within.
Yes.
I had my guitar, but my minstrel thing was gone. I was going to college. I was working as a janitor. It was hellish. So one Sunday, I was in so much anxiety. I just took my guitar and walked down the street. I went to the campus. I saw a nice spot. It was on the South Mall with the big statue of George Washington. This could be a good place. I could sing here and see what happens.
Okay.
So I went there and sang, and huge crowds of people came. I became a celebrity immediately.
Wow.
They wrote a big article. There's a picture in my book about it. I was sitting there with the big crowds of people around. They really loved my music. Wow. They wrote very highly. The article was very much glorifying my music. It looked really good again. But then that thing faded away, and what to do? Now my parents were visiting every December. They go back to Missouri, where my grandparents lived for Christmas. So I went with my parents back to visit my grandparents, and now I'm back in Houston, you know, temporarily before I go back to Austin. But we were in the grocery store, and one guy named Frank McIntyre came up and invited me to their Bible study group.
Oh, okay.
So I went to he'd come and pick me up every morning. I go to the Bible study group. Actually, he was a Bloop devotee. I found out later on.
Really?
He became a Mormon.
Oh.
He even had a copy of TLC on his bookshelf.
Wow.
Takes me to the Lord Chaitanya. But now he's become a Mormon. Actually, he's still a Mormon, but he likes Krishna consciousness. You can see him on the internet.
Okay.
He's a Krishna conscious Mormon still. But anyway, I got in the habit of studying the Bible every day. So now it's time to go back to Austin. I actually had a gig there. I was the house musician at a vegetarian restaurant. I got a free lunch every day for singing. Singing, entertaining all the customers. As I became famous. I was still a famous singer. I had the Sattva restaurant. I was known as the house musician. you know, I got a free meal every day, and
Okay.
people loved my music, so they'd let me live with them for free.
Okay.
I was staying with a guy named Mike Bridges. You know, he could live with me for free, get a free lunch. I had my room and board covered, and I could write songs, sing. So you know, I even tried a few professional gigs, but it didn't really turn out.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really appreciated. One girl said, "You're a spiritual master, and your songs are your teachings."
Wow.
And one guy, he wrote a song about me, how I saved his life.
Wow.
I was a little embarrassed to hear it. But he wrote a song about me.
But can we hear your songs?
I don't know that song, but my songs, you can hear my latest songs on the internet.
Okay. We can put in.
So anyway,
our.
I have
Yes.
some songs on the internet. You know where to find them. He'll show you how to get to them.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, even college professors had me come and sing to their students in the classroom. So I was well known on the campus.
Okay.
I was a well-known singer-songwriter, and but I was studying the Bible, trying to figure out how to become self-realized. I knew Jesus Christ is self-realized, how to become like Jesus. That's what I wanted to do.
Mm.
And one day I found a verse. Christ says, "Father, not my will, but thy will be done." Oh, you got to do what God wants, not what you want. So I knew that was the answer, but the problem was I didn't know what God wanted me to do.
Yes.
So I was doing a gig at a vegetarian co-op on the stage. Only one little girl was in the audience. But I went ahead and sang, and she read my mind.
Wow.
That I was depressed. She was not even listening. She came to me after the song. She says, "Don't worry, God can hear you." And I went, wow, that was mystical. She read my mind.
Wow.
She told me that God could hear me. So that was really mystical. How did she read my mind? I was depressed. She was the only one hearing me. But she told me a message. So I've been waiting for God to reveal to me his will, and I couldn't hear him. But through the little girl, he said, "You can't hear me, but I can hear you." So I said, that's it. So I started praying, "Dear God," I would get up every morning, study the Bible at my Mike Bridges' apartment. "Dear God, please guide me how I can become your perfect servant." And you know what? Krishna heard my prayer.
Amazing.
And he sent Bhaktivedanta Swami to Austin.
Wow.
One Sunday morning, Mark's friend Margaret came to the door, knocked, and he says, "Hare Krishna, Swami in town. He'll be at my apartment in 1 hour." So I went there and I met the Swami.
Wow.
And it was quite something, because he sang very beautifully. He was formerly a singer-songwriter, so he knew how to charm people with his music. And I was really charmed by his chanting. It was so beautiful. He was a famous singer. Actually, Prabhupada loved his singing. Even Prabhupada said, "I want to come to Los Angeles to hear your singing. When I hear your singing," Prabhupada said, "it takes me to Vaikuntha."
Wow.
Prabhupada really glorified his singing, and everyone loved it. He was famous in ISKCON. His kirtans were famous all over the world. So I was associating with him, and one day he was a program at the house of somebody called Robin Ferris, and he went to the kitchen to get a drink of water. We didn't have bottled water in those days. So I went to the kitchen also to drink of water, and he said to me something very powerful. These exact words. He said, "You have to become sober." Because as hippies, I get high on this, high on that. Sober is something for the straight people, you know. Sober is no good. Got to be some LSD, some marijuana, some peyote cactus grew west of Austin, natural LSD. Somebody even drank a whole bottle of Robitussin DM cough syrup to get high on that. It's pretty heavy on the body. You get an LSD type high from Robitussin cough syrup. Anything to get high, all right?
Wow.
But he said, "They become sober." Wow. So anyway, Robin Ferris, what happened was, why he came to Austin, some hippie guy, see, there was a famous, there's 50,000 students at the campus, and there was a bookstore, the University Co-op, and there was a street called the Drag. And all the students lived west of the campus, a huge area where thousands of students would come through every day. And some hippie guy named Ron, who called himself Ron the Bead Man, he decided to, like they did in Haight-Ashbury, set up a little blanket and sell some beads from his blanket.
Okay.
So the police arrested him.
Oh.
You're soliciting without a permit, they put him in jail. But he came out and did it again, put him in jail. He kept doing it again. And thought, let the guy do it, you know. So then all the hippies saw, well, he's getting away with selling beads. So they all said, a huge hippie street market there. And one guy was selling Linga Sharira instruments, incense, and Prabhupada's books also. And he had shaved with a Sikha. He wasn't a devotee, but he shaved with a Sikha. His name was Robin Ferris. So Vishnujan heard about it. It must be a good place for preaching, and it was. He came up and started preaching there. So this guy Robin, who I knew, he invited me to get the same barber that gave him a Hare Krishna haircut, because I was a hippie with a beard, you know, long hair. But I went to shaved head with a Sikha. And the Brahmacharis, the two boys that joined, Gary and Jim, they saw me shaved up. They said, "Who authorized you to shave up?" They got really angry at me because I wasn't living in the temple. I wasn't practicing anything. I was just imitating the haircut. But actually, I'd gone to they had a Lord Chaitanya festival in Dallas. And they had me play the Kazi, breaking the drum because I looked like a Muslim, you know, my hair, my long. So I smashed the drum. And so these brahmacharis are really angry, you know, this isn't authorized, this is really angry.
Wow.
But Vishnujan Swami was on the telephone with the president of Dallas, Mohanananda, and he said, guess what? The Kazi shaved up. So Vishnujan Swami was glorifying it, and the brahmacharis were scolding it, you see. Vishnujan Swami was very expert. He knew how to see a little spark of devotion in the heart and fan it to a blazing fire. So anyway, I came back with japa beads from Dallas, and I was going to start chanting japa. So the guy in charge of the restaurant, Jay McGee, his friend Richard Patna had become a devotee, and he was against Hare Krishna. When he saw my neck beads, my japa beads, he said, "You can't sing songs about Krishna at the restaurant." There went my gig, my lunch. No more free lunch. I couldn't sing it. My music's and I wonder my Krishna conscious songs. That George Harrison had come out with My Sweet Lord, big hit. And I wonder my Krishna conscious songs. That was my new thing. Like, let's see, why don't you fly away? Let's see. What was one song was like, why don't you take a trip? Why don't you fly away on the mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra? And a song like that. I don't remember the song, but fly away on the mantra.
Nice.
So no more Krishna, no more gig at the restaurant. They said, devotee, you can come and live with us. There was no problem. My food, room and board, everything. But I didn't want to become a devotee. I just, you know, I might be like George Harrison, Krishna conscious singer, songwriter. But Vishnujan, I said, I just want to come and learn something. He said, yeah, that's fine. You're welcome. So Vishnujan welcomed me. He lived in the temple. I was, you know, we slept in a row. Vishnujan Swami, Gary and Jim and Steve. In a row, we sleep in a row on the prasadam room.
Wow.
So I was sleeping with the devotees, living in the temple. I took all my Krishna, all my mundane songs and threw in the trash can. 300 songs, I trashed them.
Wow.
Now just Krishna conscious songs. I have my Martin 00018 guitar, and I got my Krishna conscious song. So anyway, but not going to become a devotee, no way. It's just be a Krishna conscious songwriter, following George's example. But one day we were out on Harinam, out on Guadalupe Street, the drag, and then one DJ from a radio station company, he came up and said, here's this record album, it's too spiritual for our station, maybe you'd like to have it. It was the Radha Krishna Temple album from Apple Records. You know, the famous Radha Krishna Temple album. We have Govinda Madi Purisham was on it. And there's another song, Samsara Davanana Lila Loka. So anyway, my service was to vacuum the temple room rug. Okay. So we had there was no CDs, no MP3s, it was 33 1/3 was this record player. So I put it in the record player, I was vacuuming away and I was hearing Samsara Davana Ladida Loka Chanaya Karyuna Gana Ganatavam Prapta Shakalyana Gananavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanada Vindam. It was so beautiful. We talked about loving your girlfriend or your school or your nation or your parents or your brother or your guitar or your dog or whatever. But this was something different. This love for the spiritual master, I never experienced. It was like total selfless giving to the spiritual master. And hearing their voices, I tasted something by experiencing their loving. I actually tasted their loving feelings by hearing their voices.
Wow.
And that taste was so sublime, it was so serene, it was so mystical, so unbelievably nectarian that my tears just came streaming down the face. And I thought, wouldn't it be beautiful if I gave my life to Prabhupada?
Wow. Amazing.
And that was when I decided to become a disciple.
Amazing.
But you had to wait 6 months.
Okay. Wow.
But that finally came in August of 12th of 71. That letter came from London, accepting me and 2 other boys as disciples.
And
I got the name Sankarshan Das. And so, you know, you collect Gurdakshin, right? So I collected some checks at the ceremony. It was an amazing thing, actually. A boy named Ishan, who had been in London, where the devotees had contacted the Beatles, he thought, well, why not invite the mayor of Austin to come to the ceremony? The mayor, that was the state capital. So he invited the mayor of Austin. The mayor showed up. Can that be?
wow.
My parents, just imagine, the dad is sitting there chatting with the mayor of Austin. So how much that impressed my parents. The mayor of Austin came to my ceremony.
Wow.
So anyway, I collected those checks. I mailed them out to London to Prabhupada. He wrote back a very nice letter, giving like a pucka account of the exact amount of each check.
Okay.
Exact amount of each check to the penny.
Wow.
And I told Prabhupada, see, as a hippie, I wanted to save the world with my guitar, right? I wanted to spark off a global spiritual revolution. So I had that mood of pushing for the movement, you know, save the world. So I wrote Prabhupada, I want to spread this movement. And he wrote me back a wonderful comment. He said, I see you're a very sincere and enthusiastic boy, eager to push forward this Krishna consciousness movement. He said, now continue enthusiastically as you are doing, and surely Krishna will bless you.
Yeah.
So I was trying to save the world with my guitar, and I wasn't successful, he said. But then Vishnujan Swami told us, he said, the order of the spiritual master comes to potency to successfully carry it out.
Mm.
So Prabhupada told us to deliver the world. So I'm convinced now that I can deliver the world.
Mm.
It may take a few lifetimes, but I'm dedicated, staying here until the whole Prabhupada orders to deliver the world. So I'm sure we can do it by his potency, by Prabhupada's potency, all the acharyas, by Lord Chaitanya's potency, Lord Krishna's potency, Radharani's potency. I'm sure we can actually deliver the whole world and deliver all living entities who are suffering in this material world. So I know I can do it. I can do it now. I have that Prabhupada order to deliver the world, and I'm dedicated to successfully living the world, no matter how many lifetimes it may take me. So I know that Prabhupada is pleased by that desire. So I'm feeling his reciprocation by embracing the world deliverance mission as my life and soul. So that's in a nutshell. You should order my book. It gives more details.
Okay.
Divine Love Memoir in full detail. The big book with pictures. You've seen the book. You have an extra copy here?
Do we have in book?
Huh?
On the Sunday feast program, they will be.
Okay.
Today on the program. Today on the program, I'm bringing the books.
Do you have the book here in Sofia?
Yes.
To give them?
Yes. He has 15 books. And
Oh, you have books. Well, that's good. So you get a copy. You can read all the details. I just give me a summary of the whole book, what I just did.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
And the really cool thing, or really sublime thing, Prabhupada's the guru, you're the disciple, right? Guru, disciple, right? But it was amazing when he wrote that letter, when he signed in that letter telling me, continue enthusiastically, he gave a P.S. And he signs his name, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. And there was a P.S. in his own handwriting, not in type, but in handwriting. He said, P.S. We're going to Nairobi on Friday night. So it's like the father and the son, you know, intimate family. Son, we're going to Nairobi on Friday night. Just a little P.S.
Wow.
I didn't ask him. He just said, out of the blue, he said, P.S. We're going to Nairobi on Friday night. So that is a very that accepting me as his son sits very dearly in my heart for all these decades. We're going to Nairobi on Friday night. He told me,
Wow.
just as a father tells the son what he's up to. You see. So,
Amazing.
and Prabhupada even encouraged me in my world deliverance mood. That's called Jagad Guru. He told me I could aspire to become Jagad Guru. He told me I could aspire like them. But he said all material desire is zero. No sex desire. All material desire is finished. So now I know what I have to do to be the world deliverer, which I want to achieve. Become absolutely free of all material. There's no sex desire. Of course, the hippies, that was the big one. We had free sex. I mean, some girl would just say, let's go make love. And you go to the next room and have sex. It's just a normal thing. The hippie movement, it's like free sex.
Okay.
Sex. Anytime you want it, with anybody you want. You may even know their name, it doesn't matter. It was really loose, the whole hippie culture.
Wow.
So, you know, the Jamunacharya Bandra, he also had free sex as the king. But now he's become a great sadhu. You know that slok? Yadabani mamacheta Krishna Padaravinde Nava Nava Rasadum Yataram Tuma Sitta Dabari Battamari Sangames Mariana Babadi Muku Nishtivanamsha. He was a king having free sex in the palace. Wherever he wanted to have sex, all the maidens were all his.
Yeah.
But now he's become a sadhu. He said, ever since I've been engaged in transcendent lovings of Sushi Radha and Krishna, tasting Nava Nava Rasa, ever increasing pleasure in that service, whenever I think about having sex with a woman, I spit it out. So we learn how to become good spitters now. You see. So we can actually become pure devotees who can revolutionize the world. So that's it in a nutshell. I'll become a devotee. Any questions?
Any questions? Can you tell us something about the first time you met Srila Prabhupada in person?
Well, yeah, it's a very sweet thing for me. In those days, in Los Angeles, we used to have, it was a very sweet time of loving exchange with Prabhupada. Everybody got their own loving exchange with Prabhupada. This is after the Ratha Yatra festival. He would come back from the morning walk, and we all line up on the sidewalk between the street and the temple building. And Prabhupada, you give Prabhupada a flower and he gives you one back. This your own, you and Prabhupada having your loving exchange. And people were so kind, somebody would even block the pathway. And Prabhupada would just pat them on the head. It was very loving. One devotee even kissed Prabhupada's feet, actually.
Wow.
And Prabhupada just accepted everything. It was completely loving reciprocation with everyone, even little kids, you know. Prabhupada, even little kids would get it. I mean, everybody. Prabhupada just gave his own personal mercy to every single devotee. It was really sweet. So I was about number 3 in the line. Vishnu Jan Swami got a hug. Oh, wow. But I was one of his men. I felt like I was getting a hug too. But then I gave Prabhupada a flower. He gave me one. Now I have a flower from Prabhupada. Oh, wow. So then as Prabhupada came down the end of the line, I stood up on the steps to get another darshan. I call it drinking Prabhupada into your heart through your eyes. This is also in the book.
Mm.
And I was standing there just drinking him into my heart through my eyes, just taking in Prabhupada darshan. People in my heart just by looking at him. Prabhupada darshan, just taking Prabhupada into my heart. And Prabhupada looked up at me. Here's somebody not in the flower queue. Prabhupada, I wonder if he got a flower or not yet. Prabhupada looked. He wondered if I'd gotten a flower. So he held up a flower. Did you get one yet? Body language. Did you get one? Like, you know. Like, did you get one yet? And I held, yes, Prabhupada. I showed him the flower. So that was very special for me. Out of the whole crowd of devotees, Prabhupada singled me out to make sure I got in a flower. So that was before I got initiated. Mm. So that was a very special moment I had with Prabhupada, actually. I can never forget that special moment. So I was not a big devotee, you know, going for the darshan, the morning walks. I was just a rank and file devotee. I wasn't a big collector, you know. So I was always at a distance. Other buddies would go to Mayapur. I would stay back, you know. I I was distributing prasadam on the University of Florida campus, which is still going on over half a century
Wow.
later.
Amazing.
So there was a whole thing. Everybody out on book distribution, all the brahmacharis out on. So my temple president wondering, well, about Sankarshan, should he go on book distribution? All the other brahmacharis in book distribution went at Sankarshan. So we asked Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, if you keep getting the prasadam, they'll become devotees. So my service was prasadam distribution. And we made a lot of devotees. Even when I made a Simply Wonderful, one boy came and surrendered to Simply Wonderful.
Wow.
So we made a lot of devotees. It was 3 of us, Amarandi, his wife, and me. We went to a meeting devotee with 30 devotees and bought a huge 2 buildings within a short time. It was humongous. So my service was at a distance. But then in 1975, I got a chance to be with Prabhupada once again. After years, I saw him in 72, and then for 3 years I never saw him at all. Only heard about somebody said he did this, he did that. There was no internet, there was no MP3s. You just had to hear word of mouth. There was no database.
Yes.
You just hear word of mouth, or Prabhupada did this, Prabhupada that, just word of mouth.
Wow.
And so now Prabhupada's there in the temple room in Atlanta. So I got as close as I could. Prabhupada's sitting here. I stood right here, like 3 inches away. I stood as close as I could, so I could be with them. It's just like here he was, and here was I standing right there by the Vyasa. And then across his lap was Shuddhakirti. He was with Prabhupada 24 hours a day. I wasn't envious. But I looked right across Prabhupada's lap, and Shuddhakirti gave me the most beautiful, loving smile. And I felt that he was like a mirror, and Prabhupada's mercy was bouncing off him and me.
Wow.
So now I have a nice relationship with Shuddhakirti. I told him about that. He and I have a very close relationship now. I was just with him in Vrindavan. He said, we're going to put a plaque here where you take the darshan every day. This is where Sankarshan takes darshan every day. He wanted to put a plaque there in front of going to Thai. He wanted to talk about putting a plaque there where I take the darshan every day. So we have a very sweet relationship, me and Shuddhakirti. And he has unlimited stories of Prabhupada's pastimes. I have practically 0. It'd be a little teeny bit. But then that day I got Gayatri.
Okay.
I got to be all alone with Prabhupada. He put the thread over me, And you got Gayatri yet? Yeah, you know how you chant the first mantra 10 times, the second mantra 10 times? So I was confused. You go the first mantra, the second mantra, the third mantra, and do loop 10 times that way, or do each mantra? I was confused, and Prabhupada showed me, he showed me which way it was. She had the first mantra 10, he personally showed me how to do them. So that was a special moment. I put the thread over, gave me the mantra, and he made it clear to me, the first mantra 10 times, the second. That was a special one-on-one with me and Prabhupada, all alone in his room in the manna. So the letters, in those days, in those days everybody could write a letter, but then there was a new policy. There's so many devotees that now only leaders can write letters. Rank and file can't write letters anymore.
Wow.
And I was devastated.
Oh.
I'm just rank and file. I wasn't allowed to write Prabhupada any more letters. He said, this is the new policy. Prabhupada doesn't want anybody to write letters except for the leaders. So I wrote it anyway. I didn't put my name on the return address, hoping I would get through security. And Prabhupada wrote me back.
Oh.
He told me of the new policy, but he said, but if there's any urgent matter, I'm always happy to hear my beloved disciples. So I got an exemption to the policy. By Prabhupada's kindness, I knew I could write whenever I had an urgent need. And I didn't have an urgent need after that. But I knew I had that connection. I could write whenever I wanted to, and he'd write me back. So I was always at a distance, but yet I had a very strong connection with Prabhupada by his loving mercy, you see. And I still have a connection even now. I still have a connection even now.
Amazing.
Now in Vrindavan, they have it every day. There's a little deity of Prabhupada. A devotee will give Prabhupada the Charanamrita, 1, 2, 3, Charanamrita, and 1 through 3, water, and then the handkerchief. So when Shuddhakirti is out of town, they let me do that every day.
Oh.
The temple president gives me gives me that privilege of doing the Charanamrita of Prabhupada every day when Shuddha Kirti's out of town. But he said, don't get spoiled, he said. When Shuddha comes out, he does it. But he's like the right-hand man of the temple president of Panchagoda. But I have that service whenever Shuddha Kirti's out of town and I'm in Vrindavan. Out of so many godbrothers, I give them the privilege of doing the Charanamrita every day. It's a special relationship I have with Prabhupada now, being the number 2 in the Charanamrita giver list.
Amazing.
And Shuddha Kirti, he has a special feeling for me. Last year, the Prabhupada celebrated Vyasapuj separate disappearance day. There was like 60 or 70 devotees all giving their homages, you know. And the first homage was given by Guru Kripa Maharaj, who had the Namahat Sankirtan party, who raised the money to build the Krishna Balaram temple. He was collecting money in Japan, I think. So he was given the privilege of being number 1 on the list of giving the homages, and the GBC chairman got number 2, and they gave me number 3 out of 60 or 70. Shuddha Kirti did that for me. He gave me number 3. He said, Sankarshan's a resident of Vrindavan, and I was given number 3. Actually, we have a flat there in Vrindavan. I have Austin, Texas, Vrindavan, and Mayapur, 3 residences I have. So I consider to be a resident of Vrindavan by the Shuddha Kirti and the temple president. And we go there twice a year now. We spend a lot of time there. And I really feel I have a home there. We have a flat there right behind the temple. It's a 5-minute walk from the temple room to our flat. You've seen our flat? Very close. 5-minute walk from the temple room.
Amazing.
So I feel that connection. There's Prabhupada's samadhi there where his body was buried. Many devotees don't go. Even the GBC, even big sannyasi don't even go. But Shuddha Kirti, Panchagoda and I are there every day, the 3 of us. Without fail, we're there every single day. So I have a special relationship with those Shuddha Kirti and Panchagoda, the temple president, and Prabhupada's samadhi every day, because their Prabhupada was buried, you know. So we sing, in the temple room they sing Vibhabari Shesha, at the samadhi they sing Gravastakam. So many God brothers don't go for the first Mangal Arti, but I'm there every day, and Guru Maharaj is there every day for that Samsara Dhavana at Prabhupada Samadhi. So that's my association with Prabhupada, the Mangal Arti of the Samadhi every day. And sometimes I usually get a nice big garland too, because I'm, God brother, I'm right at the front. Almost every day I get a nice garland from Prabhupada. Big nice garland, almost every day I get. So anyway, that's my relationship with Prabhupada. He told us in Atlanta, here's one thing that happened. He told us in Atlanta how there's Vani and Vapu. The spiritual master's presence, and is physically and spiritually. And the vibrational presence, Vani is more important. But then Prabhupada told us a story of how his godbrother had gone to England to speak. He met with one big British lord, the Marquis of Zetland, who had been the governor of Bengal during British rule, had even gone to speak at Prabhupada's school, Scottish Churches College. Prabhupada had heard his lecture there. But anyway, one of his godbrothers went to him in England praying that I'll be trying to preach to him. So he was a British lord, and he was thinking, well, maybe I can be an Indian Brahmin also, have double status. So he said, Swamiji, can you make me a Brahmin? He said, no problem. No illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling. Lord Zetland from City immediately said, impossible. So Prabhupada told us, I was thinking impossible that I'd be able to establish this movement in the West. But I thought, let me try. And then when I heard that, I said, Jai. And then the whole room followed me, and the whole room exploded. I started it off. You can even hear the recording, actually, in the MP3. The disappearance, the appearance day of Bhakti Siddhanta, or disappearance. I started it off. You can hear it, Jai, and the whole temple room erupted with Jai, and I started it.
Jai.
Jai, because I knew that's how we were saved. Because Prabhupada tried the impossible, that's how we were saved. So that's one little special. That was in front of Prabhupada, I did that.
Jai.
I get in Prabhupada's presence, I was able to do that. Spark off a temple room Jai in front of Prabhupada.
Amazing.
That was a special. So I have very little, I have very little to say about my relationship. It's always at a distance. But I can tell you this, I've gotten very, very little association with Prabhupada. And there's other devotees who got tons of it, they left ISKCON.
Yeah.
They had tons of association, now they're gone.
But why is that?
I got little association, I'm still here.
Mm.
So, it's sometimes said, you know, familiarity breeds contempt.
Mm-hmm.
If they have tons of association, they may not take it that seriously.
Mm.
But I have such little association, whatever I got is like the rarest gem.
Yes.
Those little few moments for me are the rarest gem. So that's why I'm still here after 54 years, I'm still here, because those little moments, I take them as the rarest gem. I don't take them for granted. I take it as, and that's why I'm still here after all these decades. So it gives you something. Any more questions?
Thank you so much, Prabhu. It
Hare
was an
Krishna.
amazing story.
I can put this on the internet if you send me a link.
Yes, for sure.
My followers, I got thousands of people reading my emails every day. They would love to hear this interview. They would love to hear it. And for those who have not gotten my memoir yet, you go to Amazon.com in your country, and you can order the Divine Love Memoir. It's we have over 100 5-star ratings. It's a well-rated book on Amazon.
Jai. Thank you so much. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.